From Washington, this is VOA News. U.S. and Russian leaders meet, but no resolution over Ukraine. The search for a missing Malaysian jetliner expands. I'm Vincent Bruce reporting from Washington. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met for 6 hours in London Friday, but failed to reach an agreement on the future of Ukraine. A buildup of Russian troops along the Ukrainian border ahead of a Sunday referendum on self-determination in the semi-autonomous region of Crimea are of concern to the U.S., as VOA State Department correspondent Scott Stearns reports from London.
It appears increasingly clear that Russia already has made its choice about Crimea. A senior State Department official traveling with Kerry said the secretary came to London to talk about a unified Ukraine, while Lavrov came empowered to talk only about a Ukraine without Crimea. Adding to those tensions are thousands more Russian troops near the Ukrainian border, from maneuvers that Moscow says will continue for 2 weeks. A senior State Department official says Lavrov assured Kerry that those new Russian troops will not enter Ukraine. The foreign minister made similar assurances before Russian troops crossed the Crimean border following the collapse of the pro-Russian government in Kiev. Scott Stearns, VOA News, London.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel has warned Moscow that Europe could inflict massive economic and political damage to Russia if the situation in the Ukrainian region of Crimea escalates. Analysts say Germany appears willing to use its diplomatic and economic muscle to turn up the heat on Moscow. They add that Merkel, a fluent Russian speaker, has been Europe's prime interlocutor with Russian President Vladimir Putin. More on these stories at voanews.com. A bomb blast near a police vehicle in the northwestern Pakistani city of Peshawar has killed at least 3 people. Shoppers were crowding in a Peshawar market for their weekend purchases when a bomb exploded, killing and injuring dozens of people. Police Superintendent Faisal Kamran said the target of the suicide blast was an armored police vehicle nearby. Taliban militants constantly attack police and other security personnel in Pakistan. A special court established to prosecute treason charges against Pakistan's former military ruler and president Pervez Musharraf has ordered police to arrest him if he fails to appear before the judges on March 31st for a formal reading of the indictment. VOA's Ayas Gul reports from Islamabad.
The high-profile legal proceedings against Pervez Musharraf began more than 10 weeks ago, but he has only appeared once in court, citing security and health reasons for his absence. In a show of frustration, the 3-member panel of judges ordered police Friday to arrest the former military leader if he fails to appear on March 31st and directed the government to ensure Mr. Musharraf's personal safety when he travels to the court from the hospital. The treason charges against Mr. Musharraf stem from 2007, when he declared a state of emergency in Pakistan, suspended the constitution and fired top judges to quash opposition. Ayaz Gul for VOA News, Islamabad.
More on these stories at voanews.com. Friday, Malaysia's transport minister said unspecified circumstances had forced the search to expand for that missing Malaysian airliner. Transport Minister Hishamuddin Hussein said the search for the Boeing 777 has been expanded to the Indian Ocean and remote parts of the South China Sea, thousands of kilometers from the spot at which the airliner vanished from civilian radar just about 1 week ago now. A prominent Chinese human rights activist has died after falling critically ill in a prison where she was denied medical treatment. Chao Shunli passed away in a Beijing hospital after authorities had allowed her to be transferred there recently. She was suffering from liver disease and tuberculosis. Malian officials say French forces have killed a top Islamist militia leader in the mountains of northern Mali. A Malian official said Friday that Omar Ould Hamaha a member of al-Qaeda's North African wing, was killed last week by French airstrikes. British energy giant BP has regained the right to bid for lucrative oil drilling leases in the Gulf of Mexico off the southern U.S. coast. BP had been barred from U.S. contracts following the company's disastrous 2010 oil rig explosion in the Gulf that killed 11 people and spewed nearly 5 million barrels of oil. U.S. stocks on this Friday all up slightly. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 17.05 points, or 0.11%. S&P 500 up 1.57 points to 1,847.91. And the NASDAQ Composite up 1.98 points, up to 4262.408. I'm Vincent Bruce, VOA News.